The first coat is applied by trowel across the entire surface area to a thickness determined by the aggregate in the product. Be sure to apply Versiplast in a uniform fashion, ensuring that no voids or uncoated areas are left behind. A light trowel approach is best to allow for full surface coverage. When this coat has dried, a second coat of Versiplast is applied in order to create the relief that will become the focal point. The technique of applying a broken pattern is referred to as skip trowel. Learning to skip trowel will take some practice, but it is a technique you will use with all of our products and applications. To begin, cover approximately 6 to 10 square feet of skip trowel pattern. Then press the face of the trowel onto the wet Versiplast and pull the trowel towards you. This will create tiny fossil-like fissures. The trick to getting the best surface appearance is to lightly spray the second coat with water after the fissures have been raised, then very lightly trowel over the Versiplast. Use an X pattern in troweling to avoid obvious directional strokes. Keep applying the second coat in this fashion until the whole surface has been completed. The Versiplast must now be allowed to fully dry. At this point, if a stencil relief application is desired, this should be done prior to the final glaze application. Allow the stencil relief application to completely dry before commencing with the glaze application. When the surface is dry, give a light sanding to remove any unwanted lines and surface nibs. Glaze is a type of paint that is translucent and remains wet for up to an hour or more. This allows you to work with the glaze by working it into the texture and creating different degrees and shading of color. It is the opacity and translucency of the glaze that renders the displacement of color seen in any true authentic distressed plaster. The glaze can be applied with a brush or roller and should be dispersed across the Versiplast in a random broken stroke, making sure to miss some areas. The missed areas will be done with the second glaze application. Work the glaze into some of the recessed areas and any stencil relief pattern. Once you have covered an area with the first color, you can begin with the second color glaze. The second color glaze application should be worked into the previously unglazed areas and stencil relief patterns, but still allowing some of the original Versiplast color to remain exposed. Although glaze can remain workable for up to an hour, it is recommended that you commence an area that you can comfortably work within. That may be 8 square feet to 80 square feet, depending on your speed and room temperature. Versiplast and glaze are distressed plaster, as it is often referred to, is a 4-coat application which gives you an aged relief plaster effect. This coating is an acrylic and glazed sphere composite and will not crack or shrink. Also unique is that Versiplast does not require a primer or sealer and is therefore ready to glaze when dry. Versiplast is a white plaster product which can be tinted to any color. It can be used to render a vast variety of textures and can be painted, glazed, carved, or treated with metal reactive paints for an amazing effect. After the second glaze application, take a dry, flat, dense sponge and lightly wipe and dab the glaze to blend and move the colors. This will unify your surface color. How much blending and removal of glaze depends on the amount of pressure applied. When the final application has fully dried, you may lightly run a sanding